Back to the Culture Call on Praise 93.3 with L. Spencer Smith. Our desire is to reach and empower the community by discussing a cross-section of relevant topics from various perspectives that are essential to its growth and interpersonal connections. Be sure to save our call-in number, 205-752-4800. Be sure to install the free Praise 93.3 app so you can send L. Spencer Smith a message or topic idea. Search for WTSK in your app store.
This is the world premiere. Great morning. You know what time it is. It's time for the Culture Call. That's right. The place where Tuscaloosa meets the world with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3, and we're getting ready to have an amazing morning. You know what? For the next 2 hours, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we're going to be talking a little bit about everything. That's right. From society to sports, education to economics, definitely from religion to relationships. We are here to create always a safe space and to kind of shake up everything in our community as we have an empowering, provocative, and yes, sometimes controversial conversations. And guess what? You can call in and chat it up with me. That's right. And be a part right here together as we learn on the Culture Call. Want to send a shout out? Maybe this is your first time listening to the Culture Call. Welcome to the CC family. That's right. I'm going to make up a jingle. How about that? Yeah, the CC family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. And we just have it here, conversation, chatting it up. You know, sometimes we have guests, and most times I'm here just giving you what's happening in our community. And you have made a wonderful stop, a wonderful place to hang out for the next 2 hours. That's right. So we welcome you to the CC family, the Culture Call family. It's going to be a day of information and impartation and most definitely inspiration. Thank you so very much. And of course, to all of my family that listens to me every morning, I am so very blessed to have you partnering with me to make this the number one talk show in the region. That's right, the number one talk show. Thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you, and most certainly you, because we cannot do it without your listening. And from the bottom of a grateful heart, I want to say thank you for always tuning in. Want to always give a shout out to the inimitable Brother Jay, who blazes it from 5 a.m. all the way up until he passes that hot baton to me. Some days I feel like he's passing lava to me. Yes, playing the best and good gospel music, both contemporary and traditional, and helping us push through, get ourselves together in the morning. Shout out to Brother Jay, and to all of you who tune in and stay over after he's off the air. You stay over and listen to Bishop L. I really, really appreciate that. Hey, do me a favor. I want to always encourage you to listen to Praise 93.3 on the go. Do this. How can I do that? Here's how you do it. Go to your app device, your app store on your smart device, whether it's an Apple or an Android, and search out Praise 93.3 FM. There you're going to find a free app. That's right. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's free 99, right? Go ahead and download that on your phone. And guess what? It gives you the ability, the privilege to listen to us anywhere in the country. Dare I say, even around the globe, you can hear Praise 93.3. You can tune into Brother Jay, then the Culture Call, and all of our wonderful programming here at Praise 93.3. But you got to have that app. So whether you're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, whether you're listening to me from Richmond, Virginia, Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and most certainly right here in Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Mobile, Montgomery, Huntsville, wherever you are, Boulder G, Utah, Reform, Gordo, you can be right here listening to the Culture Call, and we will greatly appreciate that. Yeah. Listen, want to make sure that we let everyone know the wonderful things that you are doing to make our community go forward. So in order to do that, you need to make me your public service announcer. It doesn't cost a thing. Listen, PR and marketing. I was just listening the other day that the average 30-second, not 30-minute, 30-second commercial on the Super Bowl cost $7 million. Yeah, just to have a 30-second commercial costs $7 million, because the world understands the importance of PR and public announcement. That's right. And they charge a heaping helping. Yeah, that's a whole lot of money. But here at Praise 93.3 and right here on the Culture Call, it is free 99. Go ahead and send me your public service announcement to culturecall.praise@gmail.com. That's culturecall.praise@gmail.com, and give me an opportunity to let Lottie Dottie and everybody know what's happening in your church, your organization, your sorority, your fraternity, whether you're an artist getting ready to have a concert or a preacher getting ready to start a fire blazing revival. It means something that when I announce it on the air and you see faces in the place, it encourages you. It makes you know that what you're doing matters, right? And we do that collectively because we do it better when we do it together. And as always, we want to help each other. Listen, go ahead and write down the golden number, 205-752-4800. And don't be scared, like the kids say. Don't be afraid to give me a call. Call into the show and be a part of the conversation. Or you can utilize the app. Yeah, the app you just downloaded. Yeah, you can utilize that whether you're at work and you can't talk or you're not supposed to be talking on the company phone, the company hour. I get it. You cannot waste the company's dime. Yeah, but you can send me a chat message and I read it. Absolutely. You can do that. Let me know how well I'm doing. Let me know how the topic's blessing you, or whether I'm doing well or whether I'm stinking up the joint. Doesn't matter. Go ahead and stay connected because I want to hear from you. Yeah. So do me a favor. Hey, let's get ready. Sit back and relax. Grab you some coffee, whether it's Maxwell House or Starbucks. Go ahead, get you some tea. If you're a tea person, you may not like coffee. You might be a tea person. That's no problem. Go ahead and get you some chamomile to kind of calm your nerves down, chill out. Yeah. With some ashwagandha or something. Yeah, you can do that. Or you can get you some green tea and get your little caffeine kick just to kind of push you over and push you through the day. Or definitely always, this is my favorite, you can go and get you some alkaline water, period, but alkaline water. That's right. That's the water with the black label. I love Essentia alkaline water. It just does your body good. It flushes you out, makes you clean, gets you ready, makes your body whole and healthy. And let's get into the culture. Listen, I hope everyone had a wonderful love day, and that's whether you had a boo or not, right? Whether you're married, engaged, or whether you're living the single life, like Cameo said, yeah, whether you are doing that does not matter. Living single is still in order. You can do that and still have a happy life. You can love on yourself. Many people had, I heard it this year for the first time, a Galentine, where the girls got together and just, had a good time, loved on each other. And, whatever it was, whether you went out, whatever, the church might have had something for you or your job or whatever it is. I hope that you felt loved. I hope that you experienced the appreciation and knowing that you matter and that you count. Yesterday is so important, not just because of the gifts given. I know a lot of people, they say, quote unquote, their love language is gifts, give me gifts and all of that. I understand all that. But you are a gift, that your presence in this world is a gift. Yeah. Your smile is a gift. You just don't understand. Sometimes when you show up, people perk up because God has granted you a gift of just being that kind of person to who people embrace, who people enjoy being around. Have you ever been around somebody that you couldn't wait till they left? Well, God has blessed us because you are not that person, that you bring joy to the life of people, and that they took some time at least to text you, to call you, or say whatever, to say to you, hey, I really am blessed. I really love you. I really appreciate you. That meant a lot. I hope that you had a wonderful day. Took time, fathers, if you had daughters, took time to embrace them and love them. Might have bought them a little something. My daughter reminded me that I didn't get her any chocolate this year. So I'm going to have to leave here after the day. And after I get off the air and go get my baby some chocolate, because she said, I love the chocolates you gave me. Yeah, Daddy was slipping this year, because, hey, I thought she wasn't eating chocolate this year. But she let me know, don't do that again. So I got to go ahead and make reparation to my sweetheart Joe. Make sure that I get her some chocolates. Absolutely. But nonetheless, I hope that you all had a good time. And mothers, you told your sons, hey, I love you, and you made them feel loved. Husbands told your wives told your husband. Yes, yesterday was Love Day. And not just on one day, February 14th. I hope that every day is a day of love for you. I hope that is a part of what you do every day, right? To show people, Culture Call, that you love them and that they matter and that you appreciate them. Doesn't mean anything romantic or intimate, right? But it could be something just platonic friends. You just never know. Someone just might have needed a pat on the back, or might need a pat on the back, or just an embrace, or just a, hey, you doing good? You just never know how far, little signs and little mentions and little actions go, right? Love is a big word that can be expressed in small actions. And so let's always do that. And put that into activity. Okay, good deal. Listen, so when I got up this morning, we want to make sure that we could keep the folks in Kansas City, Missouri, in prayer. They were out yesterday experiencing the celebration for the Super Bowl win. Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl this year. And unfortunately, there arose some folks were shooting guns, and, I think at count 2 were killed and over 22 people were hit. And it's a shame that tragic in this country, supposedly the most advanced country on the face of the planet, the most economically aware, that we are still acting like we are desperados in Dodge City, that, so many people really go so far with this Second Amendment idea, an erroneous reading. Because of, it used to be this time, in a time in the country where, we took care of each other and we kept the gun lobby in check. But because of money, and that's all it is, capitalism, that even those we elect to protect us, they're talking about, it says a well-regulated militia. First of all, if you understood the history of why they even put the Second Amendment in there, that whole idea of a well-regulated militia, everybody doesn't fall into that. Everybody, we're not it's not a well-regulated militia when you can go out and buy military-grade weapons and go into a crowd and just spray the crowd, right? That means, but because, now people can take guns out unconcealed, without license, without background checks. And that seems to be the order of the day. And I get it. There is some kind of context to that, and I'm not going to dive into that today. But when you think about it, it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody. And I'll just put that there where I put that, right? There in America, unfortunately, there's a difference when a Caucasian man walks around with that weapon and a black man walks around with that weapon, a Hispanic man. Yeah, because this country has a particular caste system where even it looks through and adjudicates its laws through, right? So that's very important for us to understand that at any given moment, because again, we understand how, the mentally ill challenge, and that's what they say. Well, it's mentally illness. It's mental illness. It's evil. Those who are Christian, I air quote Christian, because no, it's evil. It's Satan. Yeah, but how do you control that? That these people are living in anthropological or human existence, right? And so there's got to be laws and regulations and standards in place. You can't just say it's the devil. No, and we know what to do when we say the devil appears. We don't run. Those of us who are believers, we stand against him, right? We do something about it, but there seems to be no will in Congress. And when you start looking at how much the NRA, the only time that the NRA has been against gun possession and how much they push it now was when the Black Panthers back in the 60s and 70s had guns and to protect our neighborhoods and things. That's when they had an issue. So that tells you a whole lot. It's selective, right? But yeah, let's keep them in prayer, Culture Call. Somebody's lost a mother, a father. Children were hit as well. Let's look at that. Let's make sure that we get down on our knees and we intercede and we pray and we ask that the will of the Lord be done, that healing would come quickly, and that those who committed that crime would be adjudicated swiftly, and so that we can move on as a country such as it is. That's very, very important. What else is going on in current events? Glad that you asked. What else is going on? Well, I'll tell you that what is that? Former President Trump tried to get the judiciary to throw out his indictments. Wanted to be immune from indictments in the New York case against election tampering in New York, brought by the Attorney General Alvin Bragg. And this morning, they did not grant them that. He was denied that. So he has to go to court to talk about election tampering. And so all of these filings that the former president is doing, unfortunately, is only delaying. He knows he's guilty, but he's trying to delay until the election because in his mind, he feels like when he's elected, he can wipe out the whole thing and he doesn't have to face anything. And there are people that support that mindset. And I, for the life of me, Culture Call, do not understand why people, because the people that are voting for him and supporting him to have immunity and not to be adjudicated, if they were, not politicians, I'm talking about regular, ordinary people, if they were in the same position, they would be going to jail. They would be going to court, right? So why would you vote for somebody who you don't even have the same privilege to do what they're doing? It's a grab for power, and that's unfortunate, right? That's very unfortunate. My prayer is that justice prevails and honest and equitable justice prevails, and that he is treated like anyone else that has broken the law and that has failed this country and to a higher level. Because when you indict people with wealth and power, it's seemingly that the justice moves very slow. But when you indict the guy who Joe Blow and from around your neighborhood, it seems like that justice works really, really fast, right? And that is by design. That is not selective. That is by design. And so, so that's what's going on. So much more going on. We could talk all day about politics. Don't want to do that because my subject matter today and Black history, as we reflect over all of the greatness and the celebration, all of our history and all of the things that are going on, our focus today is on doing family right. I want to talk about the construction or the reconstruction of the Black family today. That's what I really want to talk about, right? I want to talk about, making sure that the cornerstones of our community are set in place, right? Are put in a place where we can advance and that we can be strong and that we can move forward and that we can build safe spaces for Black folks. That's my heart, And the cornerstone of that is, of course, the Black church, the Black family, and the Black educational system. And all of those other things begin to work centripetally around the Black church, the Black family, and awareness of education. Around that, you have health, and you have all of those other things that make up the Black community, and in terms of businesses, et cetera. But we've got to begin to address the Black family. And one of the things that in this country, why I'm addressing it during Black History Month, I believe this all the time. As a pastor, I teach this, is that there has to be a holistic concern concerning what's going on in the family, right? Not to cast aspersions, not judging anybody, but one of the things that we do have to talk about is the family structure. Culture and society has changed it so much. And I get it. But there are some things that we have to bring forth a reminder of how God has set it up and just what works, right? This country, since we have been here from the transatlantic slave trade, the enslaved up until the present, has done an interesting job of, I would say, creating situations where the Black family cannot thrive, right? Because they understood families start producing healthiness in children and legacies and inheritance. Families are the foundational context of, or better yet, pretext to wealth building, to, health care. Family is self-care, right? That's where we learn our love. That's where we learn relationship families, right? And that there seems to be inequitable family edification with regards to how different families are treated, right? And we used to be that in the Black community, but we have an aspersion against it, if I can say that. And today I might ruffle a little feathers, but, you know, I've been born to do what I've been born to do. And when you look at the average black family, you know, we don't push fatherhood like we used to. First of all, we don't push healthy relationships and marriage like we used to, right? We don't push fatherhood like we used to. And when I say push it, I'm talking about support it in the home as we used to. That there are particular contexts whereby we see now we've allowed the culture to define what fatherhood is, what motherhood is. We don't look at it in terms of how we ought to come together to protect and parent our children and keep and build that safe space, right? One of the things I can say when I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s when I got older and went to college, one of the things that I can definitely say is that coming home meant something to me. Coming home to my family. We lived in a small town, and most of you listening to me live a lot of times in small towns or in close proximity to family. In a little place in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, I knew my family was going to be in a rural place in Cross, South Carolina, and then Ridgeville, South Carolina, my father's side and my mother's side. And so I knew all of my family. I knew the safety net. I was able to go and stay with my grandparents, my aunts, and my uncles. I was there to go stay, you know, and feel safe. That when I went there was safety because there was such connectivity. There was such community in family. And even in our neighborhood, you could walk up and down the street of Fenwick Drive, and I could see family being produced, right? That you could go to in your neighborhood, and everybody was everybody's family. Everybody was, you know, mama this or papa that, you know. And we revered and regarded our community, the elders of our community, in such a way as we did our own biological grandparents. And during Christmas, you can walk up and down the street, and they would give you a gift. They would give you a piece of change. You know, wasn't a lot, but their family got gifts. You got gifts right along with their family, whether it's a card or some mittens or a hat, a cap. Didn't matter. It was this whole idea of family. And what I found as we rolled into the 90s and even through that into the 2000s, and now we're in 2024, there seems to be something lost with regards to the necessity of building strong families, not just biological, natural families, nuclear families, what we call them, but also community families, right? That there is not a honor, a respect, or a reverence for the context of family, right? For fatherhood, for motherhood, children are learning how not to respect. They see themselves possessing agency and possessing their own will. I don't have to listen to you. And that's been created by a generation that have birthed children through their own lack of honor and reverence. They're disconnected from that reality of what a safe family looks like. And so those people have children, and they raise those children to be just as skeptical, just as cynical, just as distrusting of the family unit as they had experienced, right? And one of the things that we have to do and call into consideration again is to, number one, if we're going to build strong families, we got to admit that there is something wrong with the context of our families right now. Right now, our families don't have a church. They don't have a family faith, right? That you know, on Sunday, what is the family? What is most important is unfortunately, is the athletics that, you know, used to be that school and athletics respected the family worship time, the family coming together. That Sunday was definitely a sacred day for a sacred space. Well, no, they've got practice during Sunday to where, you know, if they do come to church, they got to leave early, and parents, you know, let their kids leave early. They don't even come at all because my kids got a tournament and my kids got a that. And again, I get it, you know, in terms of I want my child to be this athlete because they've added in the equation of their children's talent as a ticket to get financially secure. And it's all about capitalism. If you understand that, it's all about dollar, bill, right? And it's caused us to make unhealthy and unwhole decisions with regards to the building of our family unit, that we are willing to make certain sacrifices. And what we don't acknowledge is that there is not a family worship moment. A family, the family doesn't know the pastor. The family doesn't come to church. They don't see that element of spirituality and faith being edified in the family, that we normally go to church when it's a wedding and or a funeral, right? Unfortunately. And so when you take out that family element of faith, because the church is where morals and values and standards are set in place, are edified or re-emphasized, because we hear it at home, hopefully, and then we come to church, and the pastor is saying, hey, you need to do this, blah, blah, blah. We learn that level of morality from the whole unit. I told you again, it was also, family was also in school. Right? Our teachers were a part of our family, and, all of those different kinds of things. Our custodian, Mr. Jones, Miss Jones, they worked there. We grew up with their children, and so all of us, it was never, we honored Mr. Jones and Miss Jones and Miss Bush. Those were the janitors of our school. We honored those just like we honor our own family. They are older than us, our grandparents. We revered them as well, but that's not what it is now, right? That schools are not family oriented. It's not safe, or, that when our parents used to walk into schools, the teachers, the principals, everybody knew them. Everybody knew them. And now there's such a lack of orientation around family relationship and community, even when we walk in school. So when you take it out of the home, there's a little shakiness with family there. When you take it out of the church, there is no family spirituality, no family faith being developed there. No grounding in morality, right? And in values. And then you go to school, and the teachers, they're like, listen, it's more of a corrective institution, a correction institution than it is a school, a place of academic excellence and educational progress. It's less that now, With all of those are having a destructive effect on family. And what we're going to be talking about this morning is how can we reverse that? I think that needs to be reversed, don't you, Culture Call? I think we need to make a concerted effort to rebuild black family in the church. I mean, in the church, in the home, and in the school. We need to build family community again, rebuild it, and place the emphasis on a safe space. We are creating and constructing a safe space for our children to learn, to become, and that our families trust these institutions so that they can grow toward the future. That all it takes is one generation to make up their mind that we're going to do better by our families. And then you're going to see those things be reproduced. If it took one generation, a couple of generations to reverse that, to destroy it, all it takes is a couple of generations to build it back. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, on your favorite station, Praise 93.3 FM. Keep it right here. Go ahead, get hydrated, listen, and don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith. Praise 93.3, your inspiration station. And we are having an amazing day right here. A beautiful post-Valentine's Day celebration as we're talking about reconstructing the black family. And I am super excited to be sharing with you. In our first segment, we just kind of laid out the historical context of what happened to the black family. And again, I believe that it is essential for the future, the days to come, that there has to be models that are raised up. And I preach, I teach this. I try to exemplify this even in my own space, in my own church. I try to make sure that we understand the value of family. As a matter of fact, one of the models of our church is that we are a family church where lives are changed through the Word of God. So we are concerned about the total family unit. And I think what is important, especially in the black community, that regardless of what faith, what perspective of what your past you come from, your perceptions, all of those things. I think what is important is that we build safe spaces for our children. We build safe spaces for the next generation. And whether we experienced it or not, I think it is important for us to do the work of really making sure that our children are protected. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about my parents, that they made sure, our family stayed together. That was their desire, that our family stayed together, that my brothers and sisters and all of us stayed together. We stayed connected. That was one of the last things that my mom said to me, y'all stay together. But me and daddy are gone on, but y'all stay together. So, Ty, Kurt, Spence, we grew up in one bed and, 3 boys in one bedroom. That's our thing. That's three boys in one bedroom. That's what we call ourselves, right? But we had a sense of family that across the street, across really the path was our grandparents' house, my mom's parents' house, and up the street, we knew everybody. It was a sense of safety that we could be playing in the pitch black dark of night and never had to worry about being hurt, never had to be a worry about being shot, never had to worry about being kidnapped or anything happening to us, because, if it got too late and we were afraid to walk home, that our parents would say, well, you're going to stay with this one. You can stay with that one and we'll come get you in the morning or whatever. They didn't have any kind of reservation about letting us, experience family, that we would be safe. They knew that we were going to eat. We would have a safe place to sleep. When they were out of town at work or going to different educational teachers conventions, we would stay with our parents when my grandparents and my grandfather was on revival and they couldn't keep us. We were free to stay with our folks in our community, right? And it was important to them that we experienced that. And, sometimes I think about who could I let my kids do that with, right? And my wife and I, we created that kind of family extension. We had grandparents, we had, she's a Moore, so they got a bunch of family here. But who could we trust our family with, our children with? Who, if we needed any help, we could go to, right? And we created that family space for our kids that, from our extended family. And then we moved here. We had extended family when we were in Jacksonville. We had extended family. We would go visit my parents in South Carolina, had extended family there. My sister would come and just, pick up her baby, the twin, my son, my oldest son. My sister Gwen would pick him up. She would, y'all almost there? Yeah. But Jory wasn't going anywhere because she was not that type of baby that just, she had to have a mommy. But nonetheless, I digress. We had a sense of family, even in church. We knew, our children knew, they were T this and T that, and they respected and revered elders. They were in the church working together. Our families grew up like that. And now I'm looking at, where is that? Is that still something that is important to the black community? See, we can be rifled with complaint, and we can get into a place and in a space to where we're missing out on the true context of what it means to have community beyond our bloodlines. Even our children, the children that are growing up today, are coming out of dysfunctional families. Again, when I talk about this, I have to always alert people that I'm not talking about anybody. I'm talking about the reality of the subject matter, that we have children who have different parents. The mom's not married. There's such a disconnect there that the grandparents don't necessarily, they're so close in age to the children that they don't necessarily want. They haven't accepted the grand level of their parenthood yet. As I said before, schools are not the safest place. The teachers are not interested. And the funny part about it is, even when I was growing up, the white teachers were a part of our family system. Miss Cottrell, Miss Bradwell, Mr. Bradwell, all of those, Miss Hunter, all of those, the white teachers were a part of our family system that we created at that time. Now, it's not like that. It's not like that. And if we let it go on unnoticed and unchecked, we're going to produce a generation that has no understanding of the importance of family, dare I say, even community, right? They're finding those spaces in other places that are not healthy. They're finding those spaces and places in what we would call in sports, that the football team and the basketball team are their families, right? And they don't know who their true aunts are. It's just so scattered all across the place. And what I'm advocating is a coming together, is a reimagination. I even tell people who are co-parenting that the issue is not right now, because you've already made a decision not to be together, but is to build family for that child, so that they will know that family is the normal thing, not your decision. Say it again, Bishop L, because somebody didn't hear me, right? That your decision not to be together is not the normal thing. It's the family that you created, the co-parenting, that y'all ain't fussing at each other. You ain't dropping the kids off on the street. You bumping your horn and they got to come outside and you got to put the kids on the porch and you ain't got no interaction, no kind of communication. And they grow up in that level of disconnect. They grow up in that level of bitterness, and what becomes the reality is the context of your relationship with the person who you've had the child with, as opposed to, we're going to work together. We're going to put aside whatever we had and what is going to be important. We're going to interact. We're going to communicate. We're going to sometimes spend Christmas together. We're going to sometimes spend Thanksgiving together. And I'm going to let anybody else who comes up into my life understand that I already got this family system. You are welcome to be a part of this family if you're going to be a part of me. But if you don't want to do that, then you are not the person that needs to be in my life. See, we need to understand that what's most important now is not the singular decision you made not to stick together, not to be together. That's a relationship that's probably even another show, right? That's another show, right? Talking about marriage as opposed to the way that things are going. It is what it is. But what is most important when that child comes is to create some level of communicative family, so that child will grow up in a system of understanding that I can go on my mom's side and on my dad's side, even though they may not be married, and still experience the safety and, watch this, the sacredness of family. I think that's very important. And we cannot dismiss that as a reality that needs to be shaped, as a reality that needs to be had, right? That, yeah, you did something in your teens and XYZ, and I get it. I understand there's some bitterness there. But at some given point, as you grow older, what must become more important is that baby you're trying to raise. And that community that you develop, so that child can grow from a place not of dysfunction, but of determination. That all of the ingredients may not have been as specific or as traditional. That's a good word. Traditional as I may have wanted it. However, what we're creating now is that child can go to either one of his parents, and find family and safety, and they don't see warfare, relational warfare. I don't like you. Don't bring that other woman to my house. Don't bring the other man to my house. No, that's not how that needs to go. That's not culture call. Hear me now. I know you feel some type of way on what I'm talking about this morning, but I'm not going to say I don't care, but you kind of get the connotation that I kind of don't. It's not going to change what I'm saying. The reality is simply this, is that you got to put down your swords and beat them into plowshares, plant some good things, right? That child finds safety now. They got an extended family, a larger family, right? You can deal with the context of other things when it arises, but it is important, right? To make sure, even let's take it a step further. I understand this generation's perspective, and it's not all. Let me put it like that. Let me say this, that we're living in the generations of what they call nunners. Sociologists, especially Christian sociologists, call nunners, that they don't want none of church. And no, it's literally, you can type it, you can Google it, you can find it. Noners, nunners. They don't have a system of faith or belief, you know. They don't know anything about their morality is subjective. I do what I feel. I do what brings me pleasure. I do what makes me happy. I don't like what they call organized religion. And a lot of that, you know, it's funny that the church sometimes put that on a generation, but the church is culpable in the development of the nunners, of that mindset, right? The church itself. And that's, again, another conversation, right? Because they've seen too much. They've seen behind the veils of what we used to hold sacrosanct and holy and sanctified and precious and pure. They've seen humanity peek up and flesh peek out too much from the sacred walls of the tabernacle, of the temple. And it's hard to have morality and preach morality and teach morality and hold a generation to morality when you've not been moral or ethical in your own life, right? So the church has aided and abetted in that mindset, but there's a generation that doesn't even want to go to church, that their parents, you know, don't make them go to church, right? That their parents, you know, don't provide for them a level of values, a system of morality, a system of spiritual development, because we are tripart beings, spirit, soul, and body. And each of those needs a level of development. And we're living in a generation that the families today, the parents today will get their children physically developed, and they will miss the community of church. They will miss the family of church. They won't place any importance on the church. Now, y'all know when we grew up, Mama said, hey, Daddy said, if you can go out on a Friday night, if you can go to the game on a Friday night, you're going to be in church on a Sunday morning, and tell your coach you ain't going to come to practice on Sunday. Sunday is the Lord's day. That's what they taught us, right? And back then, the educational system, the sports system, respected that. We're not having it on Sunday because the coaches and the teachers, the trainers were Sunday school teachers, were pastors, were people who were deacons and elders at the church and missionaries and mothers at the church. They had responsibility. So they couldn't do anything but now. But again, now that's totally different. It's about winning the championship and modeling a mock NFL, a mock NBA, right? It's that. And so there's not space being created for the spiritual development of our children in the context of a healthy Christian environment or a healthy Christian family. And so that's something important. We got to make sure of that. We revisit that. And if we don't, well, it's going to perpetuate. It's going to get worse before it gets better, right? Because guess what? Back up. Come forth. Let me show you. When you see there's an intermingling, a dangerous syncretism, if you will, of church even now mixing with culture in the world, and preachers are getting caught up. Not that they're doing anything, but they're getting caught up, and they're twisting scripture to make sure or to assert the reasons why they're there. And it's an unhealthy space. And our kids are like, well, if you're going to do this, then why I got to come to you? I can just go and do that. See, and so there's a responsibility that all of us have to the context of what family will be. And then bring, again, in the educational system with teachers, and make our children, and when I say make, I'm not saying beat it in them as in terms of belt, extension cord, shoes. I'm not talking about beat them, but give them an appreciation, cause them to have an appreciation for the context of family, and encourage them to have one of their own, to be able. I want to be able to treat my kids to have their family, to be their children, my grandchildren, to have a safe space. I want them to be able to come to the church and then know the church family. They're probably going to move off from Tuscaloosa. I don't know. But if they're still here, I want them to know the people in church. Wherever they go, that's the same thing I would want for them, because that's the thing that reared me. That in school, I talk about my teachers, Mr. Geist, Miss Nelson. I talk about all of them who shaped my career, right? Miss Shine, that kept me, that told me I talk too much and behave. Miss Shepherd, all those people. Miss Thayers. I know all of my teachers. If I meet them today, I just had the privilege of going home and my choir teacher saw me and she cried the whole service. The entire service, and we just hugged and we talked. She said, I knew you were going to turn out to be great, and your word blessed me, and I had to preach there for a conference. But that's the reality. They experience family in all of that, and I think that's very important. That when I go back to my church, the church that I grew up in, I have an opportunity. I don't have much opportunity now because of my schedule. They know me when I come into town. They know me when we were taking my mom to bury her back in South Carolina, and my dad. Our whole church, the church that I grew up with, came because we were all part of family. They all knew Smitty. They all knew Ned. They all knew that, and they were there to embrace. They were there to encourage, to provide comfort, because we created. And I'm talking about now. I'm in my early 50s. I grew up with these people when I was a baby. And they're still there providing the context and safety and security of family. And my thing is, do our children have that? Do our children know that? And here it is, do we want them to? There has to be a desire. I want my grandchildren to know that. I want my grandkids to know that. That same kind of family that I grew up, the context, not the same people. Because and I love it. My children we don't know nobody from Cross. We've not ever been to your family on your side, and so we're trying to plan a trip to South Carolina so they can grow. They grew up with my wife's family here. My baby son is close with my wife's family here. My oldest two, they were more close to my family, but they know it was a system, and intentionally it was done that way. Culture call. We have got to stop making excuses and rebuild the family context from the family in our home, in the church, and at school. And you're going to see how much of a difference it makes in your children's grades, in their self-esteem, in their health, in their perspective of life. You're going to see how it changes the context of their decisions when they know that I have a family that's my springboard. Yeah, we cannot put that off. Listen. Give me a holler, 205-752-4800. Hit me up on the app. This is the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on your inspiration station, Praise 93.3. Keep it right here. There's much more to come. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3. It's the top of the hour, 11 a.m. and some change. Welcome to those of you who are joining us for the second hour. I am telling you, we've been rolling here this morning, and I pray that you listening. And, I'm not fussing. We've been talking about rebuilding family, reconstructing family, the black family in particular. And I'm serious about it. But before I go there, I want to go ahead and just mention and invite you as the pastor. Yeah, let me put on a different hat. To our Sunday service, our Stillman College Sunday. That's right. This week is Stillman homecoming. Stillman's college's homecoming, and they're having a lot of festivities. Well, we always end the week with honoring our Stillmanites that are there, alumni and college students that are at our church. And we adorn the church in blue and gold, and we have a great time. We give money to the scholarship fund. It's an awesome time of worship. Last year was amazing and a blessed time. Want to definitely invite you this Sunday at the Impact Nation Fellowship Church, 1110 26th Avenue East, right there in the heart of Alberta City. That's right, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Up from the University of Alabama, across from the former Leland Bowling Lanes. You can find us right there. If you don't have anything else to do, and I told them on last night, yeah, you can come even if you're a little tipsy. I don't know what you're going to be doing out there, right? Just come on to church. Come on to church. It's going to be an amazing time as we celebrate the Stillman College Tigers. That's right. Founded in 1876, and they are still around, educating some of the most brilliant and bright people on the face of the planet. Shout out to Stillman College. This week is their homecoming. Hail Stillman. That's right. And want to make sure that you are a part of that. I'm sure there are many other places, but I didn't get your announcement, so don't be mad at me. Don't be hitting me up. You didn't say nothing about my church. Well, I didn't know nothing about your church. Guess why? Because you didn't follow my instructions and send your church's announcements to culturecall.praise@gmail.com, or neither did you hit me up on my Facebook because you don't follow the Culture Call. Yeah, so just go to Facebook because you're on there anyway. Yeah, and go ahead and find the Culture Call, like my page, and guess what? You can send your public service announcements there because I don't want to miss anybody. I do not want to miss anybody. I want everybody to know the great things that's happening right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you that announcement, and so that we could definitely celebrate Stillman in the way that she needs to be celebrated for all of the historical and present work that she is doing to educate our children and to educate the next generation of leaders. So, yeah, we send a shout out to Dr. Yolanda Page and the new president there, and all of the alumni and students at Stillman College this week. Y'all have a safe time in your celebration. Okay, good deal. Listen, want to get back to the heart of the matter here, and that is reconstructing black family. And one of the questions that I normally get asked is, Bishop, how do we do that? How do we do that? I mean, are we too far gone? I said, well, no, we are not too far gone as a black community, because I believe that but we do need to pull on, and we do need to, I guess, sit and regain some insight and wisdom from former generations. See, because family is always designed to be a safe space, a safety net for who you are. Now, when I say that understanding the context that everybody did not grow up in that kind of definition, a safe definition with regards to family as an institutional concept. I know that some folks came from bad families. Some folks didn't have families, right? Every family, let me go and put it on the table, every family has dysfunction. Every last one of families have dysfunction. I mean, you're not going to get around it. It is what it is, right? There's no perfect family, right? That simply means that there are people that are going to show up how they show up in family. There's some idiosyncrasies, some personalities, that we have to navigate through. There is always an interesting aunt or a more interesting uncle that we've got to navigate through. But, that doesn't mean that we cannot experience the context of family. All of us come from interesting families. And for those who don't have that particular definition, of what family is, this would be a great time to begin. That, to me, I'm not going to give you an excuse to say, well, Bishop, I never came from a good family. I didn't know this one. I didn't know that one. Okay, yes. Okay, how old are you now? And what can you do for your present context? Because I believe that the Bible says that the Lord puts the solitary in families. So even if you're out there alone, I believe that God has given you opportunities for relationships and connections that will add the family context to your life. Don't you think? Yeah. And so as long as we keep saying, well, and allowing you to use, because it may be reality. Hear me. It may be your experience. But when you use your reality and or your experience for the reason why you can't have or don't have something, the longer you use it, it moves away from being your reality and your experience to your excuse. And an excuse we cannot tolerate. We're not tolerating excuses in 2024. This is the year of no defeat. We are not tolerating excuses in 2024. So then how do then we come to the context of understanding the building blocks of family? And I'm glad that you asked that. That family begins with that organic relationship. It could be biological, or it could be people that God just divinely life connects you to, that you find trust, relationship, that we all experience people who may not be a part of our biological bloodline, but we experience relationship there. We experience a level of connectivity, a deep level of connectivity, right? There to where we are safe with them and we find family with them. And we We experience the ups and the downs. They are there for us, and we are there for them. And so I think we need to get out of, the context of all family would just be biological, because that's not true. You know that, and I know that all family will not be biological. It is the level of trust and connection that you find, right? And begin to build from that space in that place. That you cannot stay away from relationships because when you were growing up, you experienced relationship from a bad context or bad definition. Your experience with it, just because I tell people all the time, just because you experience one bad woman don't mean that all women are bad. Just because you experience one bad man or, whatever, that doesn't mean that all men are bad, because you don't know me. A lot of people you don't know. And so you cannot use that as a rejoinder to not do a thing or an excuse or a reason why. I don't fool with people. I'm just by myself. That's not a healthy context. That God never created us to be by ourselves. As a matter of fact, he said it is not good for man to be alone, right? And so family is a result of that thing, that entity that God created, so that you could always feel that there is a safe space for you to belong. And regardless of what you experience, and I'm, again, not negating your experience, but I am telling you, you can choose to still build family, right? Who are those people who you are compatible with, that you feel safe with? That's your family, that you can call at the drop of a dime, that you can tell them your secrets, and that they are vaults. They're not going to utilize what you tell them as weapons against you or rumors to gain relationship with other people who are destructive to your being. No, that's not what family is. Family are those people that you can share your deep and intimate secrets with, your notions, your insecurities. You can be vulnerable with them, and they cover you. They guard you. They protect you, and you feel a sense of safe connection there. That's what family is. And again, that may be in your natural bloodline, and it may not be, but the embrace is not the bloodline. The embrace is the family. It's the family. It's not the bloodline. Because everybody will tell you you're not close with everybody in your bloodline, and neither would you want to be, right? Simply because we blood. No. All your skinfolk and your kinfolk is what Zora Neale Hurston said. Shout out to, our ancestor Zora Neale Hurston. But that's the reality, right? And so you find that. You find a place where you are safe. You find the people around with whom you can experience life with, you can share life with, and begin there. And you build that on the context of trust and communication, right? Honest and open and respectful communication. I can talk to these people. Watch this, they get me. They understand who I am, right? That's important for us to understand, right? And then I formulate levels of trust. I trust them. I trust them with my life. I trust them with my children. I trust them to keep the most innermost, deepest things that God has given me and what he made me to be. I trust them with my dreams. I trust them with my vision. Yeah. Trust. You cannot have a family unit if there is no trust. Trust is the seedbed of even communication. Trust is the seedbed of covenant. That you got to be able to depend on me and rely on me, and what I said I'm going to do, and vice versa, needs to be the same. That I've got to trust you as well, right? I think that's important. You got to have trust, right? And then you got to have some kind of time that you spend together, right? You can't have family to the degree and to the level of which we need it, in which it was ordained, and not invest QT with getting to know those who you're trying to connect with. If you're always introverted, see, introversion and all that stuff, come on. No, you can't. No, don't give yourself an excuse not to connect. You got to have that quality time. You got to have it. It's imperative if you're going to have family. That, yes, you got to go to the to the family reunion. You got to go there. You got to go to, you know, to the Christmas times and the Thanksgiving times. You got to do that. And you got to take the good as well as the quirky. You got to take those people that you don't too much. Oh my God, they get on my nerve, but they're my family. And you got to be around Big Mama, Big Papa, those people that you really like, Mama, Daddy, all those. You got to be around them. Right? And because you got to have quality time. That's how you're going to tell that's how you're going to fortify the connection and build the sense of belonging. Because if you don't, it's not a family. That's not what you have. Right? And not only do you want to have quality time, but family is people. The family is a set of people, a group of people that you can go through with. That they are resilient, that they are 10 toes down on who you are and what you believe, that they've got your back. They are your safety net. They are your defenders. Whether you are there or not, they're not going to let people touch you or verbally, strip you of your dignity and your worth and your value. Family says, okay, I tell you what. Now, we can talk about, we can mention Linda, but you ain't going to talk about her like that because, it's going to be some dust in the city, some smoke in the city. You're not going to talk about my family like that. That's not what you're going to do. I'm just saying, no, I'm telling you. I'm just saying right now you're going to lose some teeth if you talk about my family like that. We're not going to do that. That's what we are not going to do. Family are those people that when you are absent, they defend you, and when you are present, they protect you. You feel me? Absolutely. Absolutely. That these are the people that are the folks that will help me walk through. If we help each other walk through trauma, we provide for each other. If I got food and they don't have any, then guess what? They can come over to my house or whatever, we can meet. I'm never going to let my family go under. I'm not going, no. And anybody who connects with me is going to have to be that same person. That was one of the things that my wife and we told our children. Don't bring nobody around here who don't want to be around us. Because y'all know we have a strong sense of family. We'll go and we'll, go someplace and stay in all the house together. Don't bring nobody who don't want to talk, don't want to laugh. We jank. And I mean all of y'all, all four of y'all. Don't bring nobody like that because as daddy, I'm going to be the one that tells them. And not just me, but my brothers, my sisters, our family. We're building something. Don't bring nobody who's an outlier. Well, I just like to be myself, or I just want you by myself. No. That's how some of you all got in trouble right now. You married somebody that was just love you, didn't like your family, and they sequestered you and they got you off by yourself. No, And one more time, no way. Oh, no. We're not having none of that. No. They need to be a part of our family. I don't care what your new last name for my daughters. I don't care what girls you bring to us. If we want to feel a sense of family, and we can tell that based upon the kind of family they come from. Family is important. It must be important to us. Absolutely. That even if their parents come over to my house, we want to be a family. We want them to feel family. Yeah, they're guests in our home the first time, but the longer they stay, the more family they become. Yeah, I'm going to pull out the plates and the good china for you the first time, but when you come back, you home. You family. Go in there and get you something to drink. Go in there and pour you some juice or whatever that is. Yeah, that's what we need to be focusing on. It takes effort. But no, you're not going to bring anybody around me that I can't call, it was an amazing thing to see how my wife, adopted my family as her dad and mom. And and I didn't come to Miss Moore and Pastor Moore, Reverend Moore. Nope. It was mom and dad, mom and pop. That's how it is. If you can't do that, no, because again, it's got to be extended. We're being intentional about allowing this person to come into our space because we're building a net of resiliency that it is not, this cord is not going to easily be broken. No, absolutely not. And that's important. Now, I hear you saying, well, I'm already in something that's not like that. Well, it's not too late to change. It ain't too late to reverse that. No, but you having a family reunion and they're like, well, no. The only way that can happen is if you're not close. If you're not close, But you got to make sure that you're building something that's going to last. Family. That's right. Absolutely. And for God's sakes, please, y'all, please develop a family faith. Oh my God. Get a family faith. Let me say this again. Get a family. Oh my Lord. Get a family faith, y'all. Stop. Don't listen. Change your view and your aspect of the church. Your kids don't know the pastor, don't know the first lady. Your kids don't know. You don't know them. Introduce yourself. Use this weekend. Use this Sunday. And go and say, hey, that's right. Meet other people at the church. Build a family faith. Don't just use the church when it's time for you to have a wedding and then get mad when we charge you because you're not part of the church. You're not part of our church family. So to rent our facility is this much. Now, if you're a family member, no, the church is free. If it's open, it's free because membership has its privileges. Family has its privileges. But we ain't seen you since you've been christened. You've been doing that, and you want to use our church because we got a nice facility? Okay, well, to rent us because I got to get sound man. The musician. I got to get, the church cleaned, and I got to make sure I got janitors. Yes, that's going to be $500 to rent. Yeah, because you're going to rent someplace more than some. Yeah. Yeah. And I hear some of y'all, but the church ought to provide. Okay, yeah, but you ought to be a part of the church family. You're not going to be talking about church and the church on Monday and through Friday, something happened, Monday through Saturday, and all your life you ain't been connected, then come to church and something happens, and you want them to open up and give you benevolence? Because that's one of the things we ask. Where's your church family? Do you have a church family? No. Oh, okay. All right. Well, now, you want me to pay your bills. Why I gotta come to your church because you want me to pay your bills. You want me to take money that the family just gave in offerings and seeds and all those things. You want me to give all of that to you to pay your bills, but you don't want us to say, well, yeah, you need to be a part of our church family. So folks don't mind being benevolent. Listen, I'm the kind of dude that's going to tell you it is what it is. You can fuss all day. You can be mad all day. But yeah, I'm not telling the fib. You know that I'm not telling the untruth. Exactly. We ain't never seen you, but you want us to pay for your daddy's funeral? No, family will help you. Huh? But we don't know you. Who are you? You go up to any random person and say, my this and that deceased, and we need a space to have it. You go, and they're gonna be like, well, who are you? And so we have expectations. We want the church to be family when we have a need. What I'm saying to you is make the church a part of your family. Support it. Attend there. Be active there. Be vibrant there. Develop your faith, your values, your morality there. So that when something happens, when something goes on in your life and you need spiritual care, you need somebody to buy you some chicken or cook some greens or some corn and do all of that? Absolutely. No problem. No problem. Because we are what? Family. Right? That's what Dream Girl said. We are a family, like a giant tree, stretching forth out to the sky, right? That's what we do. That's what family does. That's the importance. Develop family relationships at school. So when your children are cutting up, because that teacher knows you and is a part of that unit, they know all they got to do is say, please don't make me call your daddy. Please don't make me call your mama. Don't do that. Right? So that when the teacher tells you what's going on, you will trust what they say because they're a part of your family, because you know they're not just an educator or somebody trying to get your child in trouble. No, you know that that it pains them to even tell you because they see your child as a surrogate nephew or a niece. They see them in a different place as a grandchild. I don't know how long they're staying in the classroom now, because when I grew up, my teachers were older, much older, right? But yeah, make sure that you do that, not just in church. We're talking about 3 entities in school as well. So that teacher has agency and power to be able to say, hey, you don't want me to call your mama. I just talked to your mama the other day. You know you don't want me to talk to her. And they'll straighten right up. Or if something is going on with your child, they'll look out for your child at school. They'll step in and say, no, just give them to me. I got it. No, yeah. They'll protect your child. If your child is time for scholarships and things, yeah, when they're part of your family, they'll be like, hey, I just want to give you a call. You know, Jashira, she's up for this scholarship, or she has the opportunity to get this scholarship, and I want to make sure y'all know. So I've already talked to her. I brought her in my classroom. I'm just telling you so we can make sure she gets this scholarship. See, that's what happens when you're not disconnected and you make the school teachers, educators a part of the family. See, we miss tremendous resources because of the way we're practicing this thing. Yeah, the way that we are practicing this thing. Absolutely. If you miss that, if you miss developing that kind of relationship, our children will slip through the cracks in an educational system that already is just trying to push them through. Or better yet, that child, when they misbehave, they'll exact the punishment on your child, and you have no recourse. Now you got to take off from your work, your job, because you ain't got nobody there that you can call and say, hey, find out what happened with my child. Find out what happened with Jay. Find out what happened with Ty. Because I got to work and I can't get off. Okay, no problem. I got you, sis. I got you, bro. Just give me a minute. I'm going to go and ask some folks what happened for real. And tell you what's going on and what you need to come down. Because, yeah, you need somebody like that in your family. And the only way to do that is that you got to make that connection. You got to make that intentional connection to that teacher to make them joy so that they can put their God down. You're not just coming fussing and fighting. What's wrong with my child? What they did to my child? What did oh, my kid. Okay. All right. Okay. That's what we're doing today? Yeah. And so that's the thing that we really need to focus on is building solid family in all of those areas. See, when you begin to talk about experience, I've got a plethora of experiences. Folks done got mad at me by the church order. Ma'am. The church did it for that one, and they ain't do it for my family. Ma'am, what's your church home? I don't have a church home. I went to this one, I went to this one, and I went to that one. Okay, why didn't you ask them? Because I ain't been there. You ain't never been here. I ain't been there in years, but you ain't never been here. Why is your expectation? Because sometimes you got to check folks. And so I know some of y'all like, well, Pastor, that means people are in need. I get it. But at some given point, people need to be in need, but also be held accountable. Because we one day may fall in need. Guess what? Guess what? Then we need to hold them accountable to the need they might have. You need to be able to build relationship because you may fall into a need. And when you get there, it's too late to build relationship because people will think you're what? Taking advantage of them. You didn't see it necessary to do all those things then. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, I remember when I was even in college, that my professor said, guess what I did? I wasn't showing up for class, y'all. You know, that's my past. I wasn't showing up for my saxophone lesson. My professor called my daddy. Because one of the things you had to put, what do your parents do? So my daddy was a band director. So my professor called my father and told him, Lord Jesus, that I was not showing up. And said, listen, I don't want your son to get kicked out. I don't want him to get the scholarship taken away. I don't want him to get on probation. But he's not showing up for class. So I want to make sure you're alert because y'all spending good money to send this boy to Florida A&M and paying them out-of-state fees. My goodness, Dr. John W. Daniels, may he rest in peace, called my daddy. And I get a phone call. No, I was used to getting a phone call from my mama. That day, my daddy called me. And I was like, okay, this is strange. And he just chewing the fact, man, you're enjoying yourself, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I didn't even know I was being set up for the okie doke. I didn't know a family situation was getting ready to happen. He said, I received an interesting phone call. I said, oh, you did? You know, I'm thinking he's talking about himself. He said, do you know? Here's what he said. Do you know, and he knew I knew him, do you know a Dr. John W. Daniels? John Daniels from FAMU? And I said, I paused. I said, yes, sir. But yeah, he called me and he had something interesting to tell me. He said, you're not coming to your applied saxophone class. What is the problem? Why are you not showing up for class? Now, here's the deal. That man could have given me an F. That man could have given me an F and not cared about me because I could have just been another student number to him. But in that moment, he became a part of my family. He knew who to call, my band director daddy, and my band director daddy let me have it. And then when I walked back in class the next day, right, or when I finally went to class, because I think I had him on Tuesdays and Thursdays. When I finally went to class, he said, you got that phone call, didn't you? I wanted to let that man listen. I was so... He said, yeah, you got that phone call. Your daddy called you, didn't you? You know why? Because I called him. I said, I know. I said, no, I said, isn't it against the policy for you to talk to the parents? He said, no, but I knew you needed family to get involved. And he was right. I needed family to get involved. So we have to think about family and how all the possibilities of family and how it's structured in our lives. Listen, I want y'all to think about that today. Yeah. Listen, this is always the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on Praise 93.3, having an amazing day talking about how can we reconstruct the black family. Got more to come? Don't miss it. Stay right here.
This is the world premiere.
And we are back right here on the Culture Call with yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, Praise 93.3 FM. And we have been, yes, y'all, having a great day of conversation, talking about how can we reconstruct the black family. And we talked about three areas that make up the total black family. The black family is not just what happens in our house. The black family is how we experience the intermingling of, one, what happens in our homes, two, our black family in church, what happens in terms of the family we create in church, and finally, the family that we create in education in our school system. And the reason why I wanted to bring this notion again is to make sure that we are thinking all three levels, that those are three places that you are consistently ought to show up for as family. You ought to show up as family in the church. You ought to show up in the family, of course, in your own home. And you ought to show up as family in the school. Absolutely. That is imperative. We go there every day, every other day. Each part of the week, we go there. We don't go to the doctor every day. You know, we don't do that. So they are a part that fortifies and strengthens family. But in our churches, in our schools, and in our homes are the thing that makes up the macrocosm of the black family. And we need to be very intentional about how we really move in those areas. And I think what is important as we talk about us various levels of family cornerstones, family movement and family momentum, how we build toward the future, we've got to begin to talk about family values, the value of family, better yet, not just what our family believes in terms of morality and what is right and wrong and all those different kinds of things, but the value of family, that there is some level of repairing that has to be done that cannot be ignored. One of the things about family is that, and I'm trying to say this kindly, is that when our parents had us, there was no manual for us. When their parents had them, there was no manual. And then when you multiply that, and let's say you get married or you have a child with someone, there's no manual. Now that child has to deal. You got your manual, this person got their manual, and now you got to raise this child. So we've got varying manuals that's at play when we talk about family, right? We've got various schemes and schematics and techniques and ideas and strategies when it comes to how we're going to do this thing called family. I think communication and understanding what you so desire, right? That everything that your parents did doesn't mean that you have to do, and everything that you did to your children may selectively not decide to build their family that way. And that's all fair. That's how it goes. That's just the world in which we live in. But herein lies the reality. Herein lies the reality. The reality is this, is that if we all come from different experiences and perspectives, we all have to agree that family is important. Family is valuable, right? Whether you utilize what they call today gentle parenting, or whether you utilize traditional African-American parenting, y'all know what that consists of, right? That there has to be some level of agreement that what is important is that the family unit be valued, and so much value that we invest to maintain it, that we are proper stewards over it, right? That, some things are, you have to, that means that families, I look and I say, hey, what's important is that, yes, we stay together, that we provide a safe space, that we can always communicate, that daddy's arms are always a safe space, mommy's arms are always a safe space. And as children, you all create that same safe space for each other. That's important, that you build that, and that's valuable, that at the end of the day, we all have a place where we can come and reset ourselves, refine ourselves if we get lost, refine ourselves when we get wayward and classless, when we're doing things that we know we ought not to do. The family unit causes us to be refined. Yeah, that not only do we relocate ourselves, that whenever we feel like we are disconnected and don't know who we are, then we can relocate ourselves. But then the family also refines us. There's certain things we do and we don't do because we are a part of this stream of communication. We are part of this hub of safety, right? And I utilized that. That was one of the speeches that my dad and my mom would always give us when we walked out of the house. Remember whose family you belong to. You're a Smith. And here's what we do and here's what we don't do. Right? And the community would remind us that, aren't you Smitty's son? Ain't you Net's son, XYZ? Aren't you Bishop Townsend and Mother Townsend's grandson? Yeah. See, they utilize that family not just as protection and respect, but also as a reminder that there's a way you have to present yourself in these here streets. Don't bring shame, to your family's name. Doesn't mean that you're going to do everything right, you're going to be perfect. But ultimately, I represent more than just me as a solitary entity in this world. I represent the Smiths. My children represents our family. They represent Reverend Moore and Mother Moore. They represent. So when you get out here and do stuff, Remember that the value of the family that God put you in. In other words, don't go out here and doing stuff that's going to take our family name down. Absolutely not. You've got to be dedicated to family to that degree. And that's facts. And listen, and that, this generation, that's weight, that's pressure. You're exactly right. Exactly. Pressure keeps you current. That's what I teach at our church. Pressure keeps you current. You need pressure. You need to always be reminded that you have a responsibility. My mom and dad are going to be with the Lord. They're gone, but I still represent Joseph W. Smith and Lynette Ruth Townsend Smith. I still represent them in everything that I do and what I do. Everything I do, I dedicate it to them because I represent Tyrone. I represent Curtis. I represent Gwen. I represent Myrtle, my grandma Myrtle, my granddaddy John. I represent all of them. I represent Bishop Townsend, Bishop CP. I represent Mother Ruth Townsend. I represent all of those people. I represent my auntie. You see, so that when I go out and I accomplish something, it lifts up what? The family name. That's what it does. That when I write a book or I do an album, I send it. I used to send it to my parents, but I send it to my auntie. I send it to, my brothers. I do all of those things. I represent Patrice Moore Smith. I represent Jory, Jamel, and Jaron and Deidre. I represent them. Absolutely. And the interesting thing is that, Deidre is not a part of our local house, our nuclear. She's a part, but I treated her. She's been with me since I think she's been 18. And our families are connected through my wife's side, the Irvin family. Yeah. Deborah White and all of them but we took Deidre in, and Deidre is my daughter, mine, M-I-N-E. Blood couldn't make us any different, and paper is not needed to ratify it. That's what family is. She found a safe space. Today, if she has any issues, she can call and, hey, daddy, here's the issue. That's yes, absolutely. She's mine. You right? That's family. That's how I was raised. And that's how we got to begin to reformat and reset this thing. And not just look at, I wonder who family that child belonged to. And sometimes I wish these children belonged to my family so I could get them straight. Because, Elle and Trishan don't play in the house. We don't do that. Family is important to us. Is important to us. No, I'm not just going to let my child run around. No, I'm not going to do that. Not my grandchildren either. I'm not going to do it. No, absolutely not. When it was time for my kids to go to choose a college and, they wanted to go another place, and my daddy said, no, absolutely not. They belong at Morehouse and Spelman. That's where they belong, at the cream of the crop, the best. That's where my grandchildren belong. Absolutely. And where did my kids go? Morehouse and Spelman. We were hoping that they went to FAMU. Right? That's a great school. Guess how I know, right? But that's what but no, their grandparents. Their grandparents spoke over their lives because we were family, and they trusted what their grandparents said. They trusted. My kids trusted it as if it was my wife and I saying it, because we built what? That kind of family. We value it, family. And I want to encourage those of you who are listening to me today, who have been listening to me for the past 2 hours, for you to go and get your family. And hey, let's value this. Let's value this. Other cultures and other ethnicities, other races, so far as race is concerned, as a human construct, they build families. That's why the Hispanics, they come in the Latin families, they come over here, they migrate over here, and they live together, they work together, they build together. The Asian families do it as well. Caucasian families do it as well. But I'm not white. I'm not Latin. I'm not Hispanic. I'm not Asian. I am what I am. I'm an African American man. And I understand the power and the efficacy of family and what family has made me. So that's what I give to my children and teach them and train them and empower them. That's what I do in my church. Absolutely. That's what I do wherever I go, to create some system and stream of connection to whereby I can call you family, whereby we can relate to others as family, because you just never know who you're going to need, Culture Call. I need you to fix it. I gave a charge the other day to those who were attempting to co-parent but finding it hard. And I told them, hey, put that down. Stop it. No, absolutely not. That's not heaven's best. Provide family. Find a way to co-parent. Everybody get together. Let's talk about what is best for family now. You got a new boo. She got a new boo, sir. That's all of us. Let's go out. Let's meet together and say, this is how we're going to take care of this child. That's sometimes with me and sometimes with you. And there should be no disagreement. There should be a level of connection. There should be a level of value. There should be a level of safety and sacredness that our child experiences. And we're going to agree to provide our child the best family. I ain't going to get mad because they call you daddy, and don't you get mad because they call my wife mama. We're not going to do that. We are building a family. We're going to teach them what a functional family looks like. And we're going to provide a springboard for them to have a better life. We're going to build this thing so that they can understand that no matter where they go and no matter what they do, they've got a family that they can depend on that's always going to be in their corner. That's what we're going to do. And that's what needs to happen. We got to reconstruct this thing. We've got to build it from, even if we got to build it from the ground up. We already got the tools, but we got to make a concerted effort to do that. Listen, this is L. Spencer Smith right here on the Culture Call, Praise 93.3. Yeah, FM, having a great day. I want you to keep it here. We got a little bit more to go. I see the runway. We're about to land this plane. Keep it locked right here. Don't miss it.
This is the world premiere.
What an amazing day we have had right here on the Culture Call. And I am so very blessed and so glad and grateful that you all hung out with me. That's right, for these 2 hours today. But don't get fret. Don't fret. Don't you dare fret. We'll be back tomorrow for another provocative, exciting, compelling empowerment for our community. I really believe that. I believe it, and I know I'll be here. How about you? Listen, as we talk about family, as we land this plane, I want you to know that all of us have to do the work. We have to do the work to make sure that what we are building and what we are believing and what has been given to us is guarded well. You know, one of the things that God said to Adam at the beginning, to the first man, was, I want you to protect and keep in dress, protect and guard this garden. Guard all that I've given you, because, and I always wondered, why would he say guard it? Because I thought Eden was this perfect environment. Eden meaning the place of God's pleasure from Hebrew, in the Hebrew context. So why would he say protect and guard? Why was it important? Because God knew that there were things lurking outside of the garden that would try to infiltrate, that would try to come and break up, that would try to come and beguile and deceive and to destroy everything that God had blessed him with. And I was like, wow, okay. So then that propensity to be, to have these elements around you, even when God gives you a thing, you have to always be careful. Yeah. And guess what? Family is our garden. Family is designed to be our Garden of Eden, with its rivers and its streams, with its produce. Be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and have dominion. That's the element of family, the family context. And God says, guard it and keep it, protect it and keep it. That's so important, that so that no other elements would try to come in to destroy your family, your marriage, your children, your wealth, your mental stability, your peace, your spirit, your faith. It is all of our responsibility, Culture Call, that we protect and keep our garden, our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, our brothers, and our sisters. We all have a responsibility. Yeah. We all have a responsibility to look out for one another and to rebuild, reconstruct. Listen, Black History Month is a good month to start. We have a reason to protect and keep our families. Yeah. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children that we can at least build 2 generations of family deep in our lifetime. God willing, it be more, but we are at least responsible to protect our families and do all that we need to do and build from that space in that place. And I want to charge you today, Culture Call, get back or get to rebuilding our Black families. Listen, as my grandmama and my mama would say at the end of every phone call, I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck. This is yours truly, L. Spencer Smith, right here on your favorite talk show, The Culture Call, right here on Praise 93.3. I want you to be good, love intentionally, have a great day. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. That's right. Have a great day. Be kind to someone and do all that God has placed in your heart. It's going to work. It's going to win. Yeah, it is. You are going to win. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.